Well, hello and welcome everybody to the New Health Conversation. And for the censors who monitor the community guidelines on TikTok, we always like to tell you that the only thing we ever share with our audience is from peer-reviewed human trial medical studies. We make no claims. Everything we talk about is also available in the public domain, so everybody that we're talking to can go and see. We have no products for sale. We're education. We're teaching them completely new ways of looking at health and nutrition, but only based on medical science. There is nothing that's our opinion. Nothing we're stating is a claim. It's all backed by medical proof. So I always like to let you know that ahead of time. So are you curious how 4 things she did to lose 21 pounds in 30 days and keep it off? That's what we're going to discuss this morning. We're going to teach you this dramatic new way to lose weight that took over 40 years of research, 100 studies, thousands of people by the top weight loss researchers in the world. There are no products to buy. This is based on food and it's based on a new way of eating. But the 4 things that you need to understand why your diets can't possibly work, we will go over that in just a moment. But again, she lost 21 pounds in 30 days and she's kept it off. I know it sounds too good. You can lose up to 10 pounds a week. I'll give you an example. Here's an older gentleman, 65 years old. He lost 40 pounds in a month. That's 10 pounds a week. We've got all kinds of examples. Julie, 35 pounds in 37 days. And then Kristen, 60 pounds. I'm sorry, where's Kristen? April, sorry. 60 pounds in 3 months, and she's kept it off. This is not a diet. We've got to stop this nonsense of all these people, well-intended, giving you these opinions. They don't have one shred of medical evidence. The difference with this, it's published in 10 of the biggest medical journals in the world. Now, in case you don't know what a peer-reviewed human trial study is, no drug ever gets approved without a peer-reviewed human trial study. And yet you're going and you're doing paleo or keto or Mediterranean, none of which have 10 peer. They're lucky if they have one study, and the studies show how pitiful. Did you know that on all the diets, when they did 12-month studies, the Journal of the American Medical Association, they found in 12 months, and they named all the major diets, that some of the diets, people only lost 11 pounds in a year. That's less than a pound a month. The most amount of weight people lost was about 16 pounds, and 25 to 40% of what they were losing was lean muscle mass. That's what's afflicting all of you. Hello, Bruce. Hello, Caddy Fad. Hello, Jay. Make it happen. Okay, so let's talk about briefly, and then I'll explain to you exactly what she did. So what are the 4 things that cause you to gain weight that you don't know about? Well, the very first thing is you're deluding yourselves if you think that you're eating organic, and that's going to solve the problem. There are over 200 studies that prove that organic, from a nutritional standpoint of view, are slightly better than regular food, and they're less polluted, and that's why to eat it. Number 2, counting calories is the most ridiculous thing that anybody ever came up with. So by counting calories to try and lose weight, it's like what? You might as well count sheep. Your body has no idea what a calorie even is, okay? And then all these misguided attempts to manipulate food or calories, et cetera, it's never worked. But the 4th and the most important reason is that we are now facing severe gut issues in so many people. And what that causes is something called malabsorption. It's a fancy word. It means when you ingest food, now that's already compromised from a nutritional standpoint of view, you're able to absorb less, okay? So that's why you're really never full, because you're not getting, look, it has nothing to do with counting calories. It has everything to do with you absolutely concentrating on the amount of nutrition that you can put in your body. So let's talk about how did she lose 21 pounds and 38 inches in just 30 days, okay? Now, I would, again, I don't know why people are not patient enough to find out the medical proof. This is medically proven, what I'm going to share with you. 5 pounds a week. This is the minimum that people lose. 5 pounds a week. The people who invented this are rated the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world. That wouldn't be me. That's them. They did over 100 studies over 40 years. And basically what they did was figure out how not to tell you how to lose weight. And they proved that every person on every diet lost weight, but 2/3 of them ended up weighing more than what they did in the beginning, and all these diets were based on calorie counting. They did something totally different here. First thing they concentrated on was nutrition, because that's the only thing that's one of the reasons you're alive: air, water, and nutrition, not calories. So what they did, they put together a food list where they were going to give people less food, but they selected foods with high levels of nutrition. So only 30% of what she bought last month at the grocery store, this month she bought at the grocery store with a list from the researchers of proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables, but not calorie amounts, no calorie counting, only serving sizes, but only 30% of what she bought. The other 70% of what she bought or you'd buy, it's not available in your grocery store. It comes from these other researchers who've gone around the world to Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand to find foods with huge amounts of nutrition but smaller amounts of food. Now, the next part I'm going to explain to you is they did this particular, this is published in 10 of the biggest medical journals in the world, right? And this was the most extensive research ever done on diet, obesity, health, nutrition, etc. They didn't just concentrate on what were people losing on the scale. They did blood, stool, urine, fat analysis. They did body composition, muscles. They did enzymes, liver enzymes, massive amounts of data, right? What they found was shocking, and I'm going to share that with you in a moment. But first, let's talk about what did they do. So first of all, she had 5 days a week. She had 4 meals a day. She started with the research that called the world's most perfect meals from a nutritional standpoint. And why are they saying that? Because those foods from Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, and South America have such massive amounts of nutrition that unless you're on a prescription for iron or calcium deficiency, you need no other supplements, okay? So that was breakfast, the world's most perfect meal. Lunch from the grocery store list that you would get, dinner from the grocery store list, and a 4th meal after dinner from the world's most perfect meal. Now, it was very important that it was 4 meals a day. The spacing really did matter, okay? Then 2 days a week, no food from the grocery store, only these exotic foods around the world. But this time she ate 8 times a day. She was eating every hour and a half to 2 hours. Now, see, it's unfortunate that so many people jumped off. They don't even understand. The main reason to do this is not to lose weight. The number one reason to do this is detoxification. In case you didn't know it, we're living in an unbelievably toxic world. And as we drink, breathe, and eat these chemicals, the body takes them in and takes the chemical and stuffs it inside our fat cell. Specific fat around your organs called your visceral fat. That's why most of you complain about not just how much weight you've gained, but how much fat evidence. They have no shreds, nothing, zero. And we're all, well, not me, but you're all following what they're telling you. They're nice people, but they got no medical evidence. So the next thing that they proved, this lowered inflammation. No diet, no paleo, keto, time. No, they've never seen inflammation come down 25% in a month. Hunger came down 40% in a month. Diabetics on this, insulin, the need for insulin came down 41% in a month, and the diabetics on this were able to cut their meds by 50%. The other part of this, it's sustainable. That picture is 8 or 9 years old. She's kept the weight off for 8 or 9 years. I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks. 40 pounds in 7 weeks, 23 years ago. I've kept it off for 23 years. Now, the sad part is that the majority of people that aren't even on this podcast right now, they're out there, doing paleo or keto or Mediterranean, etc. None of that works. None of it. Zero that works. It will not work. It can't work. All the studies show it. As a matter of fact, here's even Medicare. Let me read it. Medicare's search for effective obesity treatments. Diets are not the answer. Our researchers at Medicare reviewed long-term outcomes of calorie-restricted diets to assess whether dieting is an effective treatment for obesity. The study showed that 2/3 of dieters regained more weight than they lost on any diet. This is Medicare telling all of you, abandon whatever diet you're on. It's not going to work. You're wasting your time. Now, they don't know about this, obviously, but they're searching for answers. Well, the answer is here, and it's backed up by 10 peer-reviewed human trial studies. I mean, you've even got people like Harvard Medical School saying, stop counting calories. Harvard Medical School. And yet, what are you all doing? And you're following these influencers. I see them. And they're giving you this mumbo-jumbo about, we'll give you some recipes, we'll give you tips on losing weight. Recipes for what? They got no medical proof. None, zero. And they're telling you things like, we're going to show you how to burn fat in a month. Complete lie. You're born with a certain number of fat cells, you die with a certain number of fat cells, and they expand or contract, but you can't burn them on any diet or any exercise program. I'm sorry if I'm tilting your world upside down. And many of you may get mad at me because I'm telling you the truth. We're scientists. We have no products. On our website, which is free to go to, visit right above our head, visit the New Health Conversation. It's a free medical website. Only thing on there is the medical proof. My goodness. Don't you think we need a solution? Do you know Johns Hopkins Medical School now says in 4 years, 86% of you are going to be overweight or obese in 4 years? Does that sound like time-restricted eating is the answer? Ask yourself, if any of these diets worked, whether it's time-restricted eating or paleo or keto or Mediterranean or carnivore or count your carbs or macro counting, if any of them worked, why do we have so many diets? Why do we have new diets all the time? Because none of them ever work long-term. The yo-yo effect, you all know that. Well, did you ever wonder, why is that? Why is that happening? No one's telling you. It's not a mystery anymore. When you go on a diet, all you're doing, listen to me, everyone, you're reducing the amount of food you're consuming. Did you ever consider the fact you're reducing the amount of nutrition? And because your body it runs on nutrition. It doesn't run on calories. So when you have less nutrition, the brain thinks there's not enough fuel to do what? Run all your organs. So the brain panics, goes in starvation mode, and turns to your muscles for fuel. Do you know on all the diets that 25 to 40% of the weight you're actually losing is your lean muscle mass, which slows your metabolism down? That's why you gain everything back. But it also slows down your own immune system. So the very diet you're on now is making you unhealthy. It makes you more vulnerable to disease and bacteria and things like, flus and stuff. This is medical proof. I'm not making things up. I don't need to make things up. We don't make claims because on the website you can see the medical studies. They're you've got to understand when you get published in these, like in the Obesity Journal, Frontiers in Physiology, Nutrients, Nutrition Journal, Frontiers in Nutrition, and Nature Communications, one of the top medical journals in the world, it's irrefutable medical evidence. The job of the journal is to discredit what you're trying to prove. That's why no drug ever gets approved, thank goodness, without going through getting published in these big journals. They're the last safeguard. I mean, do you want the drug companies to do their own tests and put them out? I don't think so. I don't even think the drug companies would want to do that. There's no drug ever gets approved that doesn't go through a peer-reviewed human trial study and then published in a big medical journal. How come nothing that you're following, none of the diets you're following has been put to the scrutiny of a peer-reviewed human trial study? Why is that? Because they'd be exposed for the claims they're making are unsubstantiated. They can't prove it. When they say to you things like you're losing fat, that's burning fat. That's a complete lie. You can't, no, the only way you lose fat is through liposuction or surgery. What are you all doing and why are you doing it? Please, someone put in the chat a diet you think works. So I know a lot of new people are on here. Now let's talk about what did she do? Well, it's not what she did, it's what the researchers created. You have to understand they had done 100 studies on humans over 40 years. They never saw a diet ever where people lost weight and kept it off long term. That may shock you, but wake up, for crying out loud. Wake up. Stop this madness of paleo, keto, Mediterranean, time restricted. Go to Barnes & Noble, look at how many diets there are. I have a report over here on 110 different diets, including the Sleeping Beauty diet, the donut diet, the cookie diet. I'm not making this up. This is complete and utter insanity. And we keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. From 1995 to 2025, the rates of obesity in the United States doubled. In the world now, there's 2.5 billion people overweight, and 1 billion of those are clinically obese. How much more evidence do you need? Abandon whatever you think about the diet you're on now. It will not work long term. I don't care what you think. The medical evidence is overwhelming. This is going to change the world. This new protocol called R2M, it's called Race to Maintenance that they invented. It's going to make every diet obsolete. The researchers even said that. If you go to the website, there's a long podcast with the number one rated in the world, weight loss nutrition physiologist, and he says they'll never recommend any form of traditional diet ever again. They said it would literally be unethical. Because they knew that every person gained more weight than 2/3 gained more weight than they lost, and the weight that they were losing, because these researchers measured it, 25 to 40% of what you're losing is your lean muscle mass. You can make up whatever story you want. Science doesn't give a damn. It just is. Those are the facts. What facts do you have? A celebrity that showed you how to do this? A nice person on social media that you can buy recipes? Really? And you're going to get tips? Really? But there's no medical proof. It's all hot air. And when you look at something like this time-restricted eating, do you know what the weight loss was in the huge studies they did over 12 months? Let me make sure I'm accurate here. So time-restricted eating, where you don't eat for 16 hours to eat for 8, the weight loss after 12 months was 10 to 14 pounds in a year. And 25 to 40% of what people were losing was lean muscle mass. This stuff is just, I mean, here's the problem. You all believe it because you're desperate to lose weight and get healthy because it's such an enormous, it's not a bun, it's such an enormous problem. We're giving you real scientific proof. That website is free to go to. We won't even, if you go to the website, we won't even contact you. But yet we offer you free coaching. I'm not kidding, free. How much is the coaching? Free. How much is the consultation? Free. What's the cost of coaching? Zero. We all got coached. We have no products to sell. There are no products. This is food and a new way of consuming food developed or invented by the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world. With all due respect, not just some doctor or chiropractor or dietitian or nutritionist. They're all wonderful people, but they're not researchers. They're not nutritional researchers. And the study of physiology is the study of the nutrients once they enter your body. You all can do, and most of you are gonna go back and do these silly diets. And then maybe you're gonna remember, you know, that crazy researcher we heard? He was right. I gained all my weight back. Of course you're going to gain all your weight back. You're losing 25 to 40% of your lean muscle. By definition, your brain will slow down your metabolism. You'll gain everything back. Does everybody get this? Do you understand? Obviously not. So few people take advantage of this. I don't understand it. She really lost 21 pounds and 38 inches in 30 days. What more do I need to say other than that? And it's backed and published in 10 of the biggest medical journals in the world. She's kept the weight off for 8 or 9 years. She lost no water weight and gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass. Parag. It's again a diet. It doesn't work long term. I don't care what no, it doesn't work. This does work, okay? That's all I can tell you. But again, that high protein, low carb diet, it's a nice in theory. There's not one medical in the studies where they looked at things like that. They still failed in the long run. That's what you need to know. So let's talk about what makes this unique. Why is this so different? Well, first, Parag, and everybody else that's on here, the reason diets fail is really pretty simple. The human body has no idea what a calorie is. It's not a real thing. I'd love for anybody, whether it's Parag or someone over here, LP or Vicky or Daly or Rose or whoever, give me the definition of a calorie. Do any of you actually know what it is? I didn't know what it was 24 years ago, and yet you're counting calories. Why? Why are you counting calories? I'd love for someone to try and put it in the chat and tell me why you think that calorie counting works. How in the hell can calorie counting work if in 4 years Johns Hopkins Medical School predicts that 86% of you will be overweight or obese in 4 years? Does that sound to you like diets? Does that sound like calories in, calories out is working? It's one of the biggest frauds ever perpetrated on the world. Because the world now, 2.5 billion people are overweight, and 1 billion of those are clinically obese. Does that sound to you like diets are working? It's almost like we're defining the definition of insanity. We keep doing the same. They change the name. It's paleo, it's keto, it's carbs, it's carnivore, it's count your macros. It's all nonsense. None of it works long term. All the evidence says that 2/3 of every person on every diet gains more weight than they lost. How much more evidence do you need? I've got another big study over here by one of the absolute top weight loss researchers in the world, Tracy Mann, M-A-N. You can look it up. UCLA and University of Minnesota. Here's what she said. Diet companies make their money off failure, not success. They need you to fail so you'll pay them again. One-time customers are not the sort of thing that keep these diet companies in business. If you think about it, people do drop below their set range and stay there. A small percentage of dieters, something like 5%, can do it. The rest, 2/3, gain back more weight than they lost. I mean, I only rely on medical proof. I don't rely on hype. Maybe you like hype. Maybe you like these nice people. I see them. They're full of it. They don't have any proof. They don't have any proof. You're entrusting your own health. Good, LP. Yes. LP. No, exactly. No diets work. Now we're getting somewhere. Yay. Yay. All right. So now, LP, I'm going to explain to you what these researchers did. See, they had done 100 studies, LP and everybody else in Parag. 100 studies on every kind of diet out there. Thousands of people over 40 years, 4 decades. And you know what they found? No diet ever worked long-term, and 2/3 of every person on every diet gained back more weight than they lost. And the fundamental thing wrong with all these diets is the calorie counting nonsense. You have to understand that calorie is not a real thing. Your body cannot count calories. It doesn't know what a calorie is, and you're not hungry because of lack of calories. So the researchers said we need to do something different. So the program they put together, which is, there's no products to buy here, by the way, based on food and a new way of consuming that food. We're going to go into all that in a minute. It's only going to take me 2 or 3 minutes to explain it to you, okay? So what they did, the researchers said, the researchers, the top weight loss nutrition researchers in the world, we're going to find foods where we can give you less quantity of food, but those foods have to have really high levels of nutrition, which makes all the sense in the world. It has nothing to do about quantity of what you're eating. It has to do with the quality of what you're eating. Even Harvard Medical School said that. Let me just, a quick excerpt here. The idea of, this is Harvard Medical School, the idea of a calorie in, calorie out when it comes to weight loss is not only antiquated, it's just wrong, says Fatima Stanford, obesity specialist, Harvard Medical School. Drop the calories notion, she said, it's time to concentrate on what's in our food, not how much food we're consuming. Now, these researchers have nothing to do with Harvard, but they're waking up and saying, wait a minute, this whole thing is wrong. So the researchers put together a food list, but only 30% of what you actually would buy and consume, you'd buy from your grocery store. And yeah, there you go. So let me finish. So 30% of the food you would consume, but it wasn't based on calories. There's no calorie counting here. They give you serving sizes of proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables. Everybody got that? You actually physically have a list. You take it to the grocery store. The list, obviously, is the same list they use for the patients in these published, peer-reviewed journals. Got it? Now, what about the other 70% of what she bought and consumed? It didn't come from the grocery store. I don't care where you live in the world, because we go all over the world with this podcast, right? The other 70% of what you would buy comes from these other researchers who'd gone around the world to places like Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand, to bring in not just huge quantities of nutrition, but nutrients that don't even exist in your local markets, like from places like Mongolia and from Tibet, that lower inflammation, that lower stress in your body, okay? So now they had the foods. So let's review. 30% of the food you would buy and consume comes from your grocery store, all organic. Proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables. But the other 70% you can't buy at your grocery store. So now they had the foods, and then they invented a new way of eating. I'm not kidding you. They got a registered trademark, U.S. Patent Office, for this new way of eating called protein pacing. 5 days a week, she had 4 meals a day. She started with these, what the researchers call these foods from around the world's most perfect meals from a nutritional standpoint. Now, why are they saying that? Because they said unless you're on a doctor's prescription for low iron or calcium deficiency, you need no other supplements. That's how much nutrition. And some of these nutrients come from these areas of the world called blue zones, where people living to be 100 years old. I want that stuff. How about you, right? That was breakfast. Lunch from the grocery store list, dinner from the grocery store list, and a 4th meal after dinner. So 5 days a week, you're having 4 meals a day. And it had to be 4 meals. They tried it all different ways. They did skipping lunch, doing breakfast and dinner. Didn't work. Skip breakfast, have lunch and dinner. Didn't work. It was the pacing. That's what it's called, protein pacing. It was the way that they distributed the nutrition over a longer period of time. By the way, it's only until you lose all your weight. 2 days a week out of 7, no food from the grocery store, only these exotic foods around the world, but this time she was eating 8 times a day. She was having something every hour and a half for 2 hours. The diabetics on this, no one had insulin spikes. Now let's look at the comprehensive medical analysis, never done before on any diet, nutrition, health plan. The researchers went so far, they did blood, stool, urine, fat analysis, measured inflammation, enzymes, body composition, never done before. What did they find? The number one thing about this, it's a detox. They proved unequivocally through blood, stool, urine, and fat that it's removing chemicals from the body. And that's why she shrank. In case you didn't know it, the reason you all complain you have so much fat in relationship to what you've gained, that's what you're telling us, and it's true. The body, to protect you as you drink and breathe and eat chemicals that we can't avoid, the body takes the chemical and stuffs it in your fat cell, and that fat cell expands. And it's a specific kind of fat called visceral fat. The visceral fat is the fat around your organs. Look at her stomach on day 1, everybody. I'll get out of the way. And her hips. And then look at her stomach on day 30. No one was allowed to exercise in these studies. No, they wore Fitbits to prove they didn't exercise. Why? Because they didn't want exercise to be an outlier. Not that they're against exercise. Of course not. I mean, this is going to change the world. Now, so detox is the number 1 reason to do this. What's the number 2 reason? This lowered, no diet's ever done this. This lowered inflammation by 25% in a month. In case you didn't know it, we all suffer from inflammation. Number 3, the hunger came down 40%. The need for insulin in the diabetics came down 41% in a month, to the point where a lot of the I'll show you a diabetic here in a moment, they had to cut, their doctors cut their meds by 50% in just 30 days. But the big thing here was sustainability. That picture's 8 or 9 years old. They've all kept the weight off for 8 or 9 years. I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks 23 years ago. I've kept it off for 23 years. Who's curious? Who's interested? Right above her head, visit the New Health Conversation. Free medical website for you to go. Now let me show you the diabetic. And wait till you see this. This guy's 65 years old. How about 40 pounds and 52 inches in 30 days? That's not a misprint. 30 days. But look at his A1C. It went from 8.4 to 6.4. Triglycerides, 242 to 124 in 30 days. His inflammation came down 25%. His hunger came down 40%. And he sustained it for 8 or 9 years. This was with no exercise. Look at his stomach. Now, if you think we photoshopped that, you're on the wrong podcast. I'm serious. Then don't listen to us anymore. We're scientists, researchers. There's no products to buy. We have no dog in this hunt. And we coach you for free. Look, it says right here. Free coaching. But she's not the only. Look at Julie, everybody. 35 pounds in 37 days. That's like a pound a day. Look at that. And look at the body composition. You think we photoshopped that? You think any diet, any program you're on now produces this? Or my friend's daughter, 60 pounds in 3 months. 60. That's 5 pounds a week average for 3 straight months. The least you're going to lose on this is about 5 pounds a week. I know it's insane. And look at Andy, a younger guy, 45 pounds in a month. That's 1.5 pounds a day. And they've kept it off for 8. But look at his blood work. Again, A1C from 7.9 to 6.2, LDL 120 to 59. In 30 days, everybody, please wake up. I don't mean to disparage anybody, but can anybody tell me any of these people that are promoting things like time-restricted eating? Do they ever show you anything other than a before and after picture? Have they got any medical proof at all? And that you're going to buy recipes? Really? Really? I mean, as a researcher, I look at that and go, what? Why don't you just, it's just, look, we're at a crisis point. We're at a complete crisis point now. I mean, I was saying before that in 4 years, John Hopkins Medical estimates that 86% of you will be overweight or obese in 4 years, and 50% of you will be pre-diabetic. Do you think we should just keep doing what we're doing? Paleo, keto, Mediterranean, rush to, go to Barnes & Noble and get the newest diet? I'm not that smart, but I just ask these kind of questions. If in 4 years, 86% of Americans are going to be overweight or obese, if any of these diets worked, they'd have $1 trillion company. They've never solved it until now. It's just like Thomas Edison said once, well, you failed 3,000 times inventing the light bulb. He said, no, I didn't. I just figured out 3,000 ways not to invent it. That's kind of what these researchers said. They'd done 100 studies, thousands of people over 40 years, and they never, ever found a diet where people lost weight and kept it off long term. They analyzed keto, paleo, Mediterranean, Scarsdale, Cornish zone, time-restricted eating, fasting, it didn't matter. None of them ever kept the weight off long term until now. And none of them had ever been put in the scrutiny of these major medical exams. Well, Alex, I'm sorry. What is it? How long do we listen to this lecture? I don't know. I'm a scientist. If you don't want to listen, that's up to you. I was just about ready to explain what they did. See, there's no quick answer. If you want a quick answer, go follow these influencers. They'll sell you recipes. They're basically selling you a diet that doesn't possibly work. This is the only thing in the world, and it's backed by published in 10 of the biggest medical journals in the world. This is a podcast. This is a lecture, I guess you could say. because it's really important that people understand the science behind this. It's not me making some claim. There's no claims being made because there's 10 peer-reviewed human trial studies where this protocol has now been vetted and proven. So let's talk about what they did do, okay? So the researchers said after 40 years and 100 lectures that counting calories was a major problem. It didn't ever work in 40 years. So they said, we need to do something different. And what they did was pretty simple, but not really. They said, we want to find foods where the only criteria is large amounts of nutrition, nothing to do with calorie counting. And they did it. They put a grocery list together, Alex and you and everybody else would get, you'd take to your grocery store. Proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables. Now, you don't think that's too unusual yet. Well, no calorie amounts, only serving sizes. And each group of food was specific. Like if it was meat, if it was steak or hamburger, it's grass-fed and it's finished, not just grass-fed. When they're carbohydrates, they're specific complex carbohydrates, for example. It's all laid out, it's all free. You get a grocery list, you take to your grocery store, and only 30% of what you bought last month, you'd buy this month from your grocery store. Hopefully that makes sense to all of you. But here was the key that made it work. The other 70% of what she consumed, she didn't buy from a grocery store. She bought it from other researchers, not from us. We have no products to sell, okay? We're researchers. Those foods came from Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand, and represented enormous amounts of nutrition, but smaller quantities of food. Then they invented a new way of consuming the food that we would teach you. It's called protein pacing. It's so advanced, they got a registered trademark, U.S. Patent Office. Here's how it works. 5 days a week, you'd have 4 meals a day, starting with these exotic foods from around the world, from Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand, okay? Got that breakfast, lunch from the grocery store list. Dinner from the grocery store list, and a 4th meal after dinner, these exotic foods around the world. And it had to be 4 meals. They tried all different combinations. They had people skip breakfast and do lunch and dinner. It didn't work. They had them do breakfast, skip lunch, and have dinner. They had them do just 1 meal a day in the middle of the day, which a lot of people do. Didn't work. It was the pacing, the spreading out of the nutrition, and of course, these nutrients from around the world that you can't get even if you do organic in your local supermarket. Okay? Then 2 days a week, this is the other thing that made it unique. No food from the grocery store. Only these exotic foods around the world, but this time she ate 8 times a day. You'd literally be eating every hour and a half for 2 hours. Nobody was hungry. The diabetics on this, no one had insulin spikes. And look at, she lost 5 pounds a week. And she only had 30 pounds to lose. But here was the other big part. They didn't just rely, they weren't just looking for a number on the scale. They did the most extensive medical evaluation of diet, exercise, diet, nutrition, health ever done. They did blood, stool, urine, fat analysis. They did body composition. They did muscles. They did enzymes. They looked at all these things, including inflammation, which is the second thing. They proved that inflammation on this came down 25% in a month, which every one of you, including you, Alex, and including me, we all suffer from inflammation. It went down 25% in a month. Hunger went down 40% in a month. In the diabetics, the need for insulin, it went down 41% in a month. And the other thing that's so unique about this is sustainable. I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks, 23 years ago. I've kept it off for 23 years. That picture of hers 8 or 9 years ago, she's kept it off for 8 or 9 years. Above her head, and you can see, visit the New Health Conversation. It's a free medical website where you all can go. We will not contact you if you go there. But if you like what you see, you can scroll down, see free coaching. No kidding, the coaching is 100% free. The consultation's free, they coach you the whole time. It's someone who's done the protocol and they've been trained to coach you. They'll call you, they'll text you, they'll email you, they'll smoke signals, whatever communication you want, because you have never done anything like this. So this is not just a matter of, oh, here's the what you're going to eat. No, you have to do it the way they did it in the studies. They also give you, this is what the researchers developed for the patients. It's called the Blueprint for Success. And each one of these yellows here is a daily video from the top weight loss nutrition researchers in the world explaining to you why this works, why it's safe, etc. There's no other program like this in the world. By the way, anybody want to show me any diet you're on with a peer-reviewed human trial medical study? It doesn't exist. How come none of these influences that you're all following, they don't have one shred of medical evidence? How come? Because there isn't any. I mean, they're giving you opinions. This is going to change the world. This is going to make every diet obsolete. So now does anybody have a question? Does that make sense? Who else would like to ask me a question about this? And again, I would challenge any of you, put in the chat, do you know any influencer that has one shred of medical evidence? What diet are you following? Why do you think it would work? When we've got study after study, for example, Harvard Medical School, stop counting calories. The idea of a calorie in, calorie out when it comes to weight loss is not only antiquated, it's just wrong, says Fatima Stanford, obesity specialist, Harvard Medical School. Drop the calories notion. Stanford said it's time to take a different approach by concentrating on what's in our food, not how much food we're consuming. That's what these researchers did. They have nothing to do with Harvard. Then another big study over here, why you shouldn't count calories. Remember, none of what I'm sharing with you is my opinion, and it's all in the public domain. You can go look it up yourselves. They said, the truth is calorie counting is a terrible approach for weight loss. While counting calories and restricting calories can help you lose weight in the short term, the approach has never been proven to keep weight off long term. What's even worse, 2/3 of people who try to count or restrict calories gain back more weight than they lost. So how's that sound, everybody? And then a third big study, there's more, but this is a third one, the title, The Science Behind Why Diets Don't Work. Again, I'm not giving you my opinions, and this is all in the public domain. You can go look it up. Our researchers found that despite all the ads that say otherwise, it's very rare for people to lose weight and keep it off for good. Not only that, 2/3 of people who diet regain more weight than they originally lost, ending up at a higher weight than where they started. A review of more than 30 long-term studies showed that going on a diet actually causes weight gain. The more diets someone has tried, the more they weigh. So not only does dieting not work for long-term weight loss, but it's also associated with increased risk of binge eating, eating disorders, and long-term weight gain. Isn't it ironic? You've done all this work to lose all this weight, and then magically all that weight comes back in about 1/10 of the time it took you to lose it. Do you know why that is? Because 25 to 40% of the actual pounds you lose on any diet, all based on medical science, is your lean muscle mass. When you lose lean muscle mass, your brain will slow down your metabolism. You have no control over it. Go to the gym, run, that doesn't change anything. Your brain thinks you're starving to death from a nutritional standpoint, and for survival, it begins to turn your muscles into fuel. It's not my opinion, everybody. This is what's going on. None of these influencers are telling you anything like this. I know, because when we talk to people, they tell us about all their own misconceptions. We all have been deceived, maybe not on purpose, because they're still coming on and arguing with me about calories in, calories out. And yet they don't even know what the definition of a calorie is. Calorie is not a real thing. Does anybody know what a calorie is? I'd love for you to put it in the chat for me. So again, for any of you, would you like to know, who else would like to know more? I think the thing that's so alarming is the fact that this is a recap sort of from the, before I do that, one of the biggest contributing factors to why you've gained weight and why you're so hungry all the time, it's going to probably shock you. It's your gut health, right? So here's what the experts are saying. Poor gut health can paradoxically lead to both weight gain and a state of hidden starvation through malabsorption, where the body fails to properly absorb nutrients despite adequate food intake. So maybe you're eating organic, you're doing everything, but you're still hungry because the nutrition that you think you're getting, a smaller percentage, let's say 40, 50% of it, is actually being used by your body, not 100% of it. That's called malabsorption. That simply means that the body's ability to process the nutrients is because of your compromised gut health. Your gut is so important. It's also your immune system. I mean, there's so much evidence now that just proves that. And then this is another compilation from the researchers. The deadly delusion of calorie counting. Abandon calories in, calories out now. Calories in, calories out is a dangerous fraud. These aren't my words, these are the researchers. The body completely ignores calories, which are merely a lab-invented unit of energy with no corresponding biological sensor or mechanism. Instead, the body craves essential air, water, and nutrition to function, where hunger acts as a signal for nutrient deficiencies, not calorie deficiencies, rendering calorie tracking not just ineffective, but a harmful distraction that perpetuates obesity cycles and dieting failures. Well, in 4 years, they're saying 86% of you are going to be overweight or obese. Does that sound to you like calorie counting is working? When are we going to just wake up? This is it. This is the solution. And I'm not saying that we don't sell anything. I mean, there's no products to buy. And this protocol is published in the Obesity Journal, Frontiers in Physiology, Nutrients, Nutrition Journal, Frontiers in Nutrition, and Nature Communications, one of the top medical journals in the world. Coincidentally, this study is on the gut. And what it said, gut microbiome remodeling and metabolic profile improved drastically in response to protein pacing and intermittent nutritional fasting. This is not a diet. The weight loss is kind of, because we have kids as young as 2 doing this. We have a lady 91 years old. We have people with no thyroids, hypothyroidism, goiter, you name it. And we're not treating, curing, diagnosing, or preventing any medical disease. We're sharing with you what's in the medical. How come let me ask you something. If you think that I'm wrong, then show me another influence that can show you any medical proof. Don't give me a scientific paper. Don't show me a study on rats and mice and in a petri dish. That doesn't count. That means 0 in the medical world, 0. I didn't do the studies, but we're bringing them to you. We're giving you access to the free medical proof. So who would like to, go and check it out? I don't know. You can go to Google and you can type in the new health conversation. And it'll take you, there's the link, click on the new health conversation. It'll take you right to the website. There's nothing on that website to buy. As you'll see, there are no books, there's no anything. Number 1 is an exclusive podcast with the number 1 weight loss nutrition physiologist in the world. And he'll tell you, they, as the top weight loss researchers in the world, will never put a patient on a traditional diet ever again, because this makes every diet obsolete. Can anybody want to put it in the chat? Tell me the diet you're on, or or if you want, tell me how tall are you, how much do you weigh, and I'll give you an honest evaluation about how long it'll take you to lose it and keep it off. But the main reason to do it is to improve your health. When we're listen everybody, when we're talking about a 65-year-old man losing 40 pounds and 52 inches in a month, and then that's the least important part of his story. Look at his lab work, his A1C from 8.4 to 6.4. Triglycerides, 242, they dropped to 124. That's in 30 days. 30 days, 40 pounds. He's not the only one. Andy, 45 pounds and 60 inches in 30 days. Again, his A1C from 7.9 to 6.2, bad cholesterol, 120 to 59, age 55, 5'8", 223. Okay, Goofy, great. That's your nickname, I'm assuming. I'm not calling you Goofy. Don't get mad at me, okay? Okay, so 5'8", oh, you're pretty darn tall. Okay, now Goofy, tell me honestly, if you're not on this podcast and you want to lose weight, first of all, how much do you want to lose? And tell me what you would do to lose the weight. I'm assuming you want to lose weight. Okay, yes, laugh out loud. I love interaction because this is totally live. So Goofy, seriously, assuming you weren't on this podcast today, you'd never seen me, maybe you wish you hadn't, I don't know, because I sure make people mad. They want to get mad at me for giving them scientific proof. Like, oh, how long is this lecture? Well, it takes as long as it takes, I guess. Do you want something that's successful? You want a 30-second answer that is going to fail in the long run? Or do you want to understand the science behind what you'd be doing? So, Goofy, what diet would you have chosen had you not been on this? And what do you think you should weigh? I guess that's the better question for me to ask you. 50 pounds. I started walking 10 steps away. I also do Pilates and yoga 3 to 5 times a week. Okay. 50 would get you down to 173. No, Goofy. At that height, I'd like you to be max about 140, which means you're talking 140 is 83 pounds. Well, let me tell you this, Goofy. How excited would you be in the first 4 days with no exercise? And you can exercise, okay? You can, all right? But you'll lose just in the first 4 days, Goofy, 8 to 10 pounds in the first 4 days. I'm not kidding you. So let's say I want 80 pounds off you. Not me, but you would want it if it's possible. See, the problem, what people do, they give us numbers that are based on diets. And also, if you were going to lose, Goofy, the 50 pounds, how long would you normally give yourself? And then I'll tell you how long I think it would take you to lose 80 pounds. Yeah, that would be great. I get it. But again, for the 50 pounds, I'll go with your number first, but that's way too low. How long would you give yourself to lose 50 pounds doing what you're doing? Because how is it working? If you're doing 10,000 steps a day, you're doing yoga 3 to 5 times a week, and you still have 50 pounds to lose, I'm thinking, okay, how long is it going to? 3 to 5 months, right? Okay, so the point is that you could lose it so much faster than that. I mean, I'll tell you this, at a minimum, you would lose, with that kind of weight, you're probably going to lose between 5 and 7 pounds a week on average with no exercise. Now, if you exercise, that's going to be even more. But the other two things to understand, Goofy, as I went over with you, this is also a detox. You're going to be detoxing your body. Also, on all their case, look at Julie here, for example. Look at the change in her body composition. That's with no exercise at all. And look at how much she shrank. Now, what we know based on the studies is that people, they're losing no water weight. In her case, like Kristen here, she only needs to lose 30 pounds. She lost 21 pounds in a month. But look at her stomach on day 1, look at her stomach on day 30. That's with no exercise, no Pilates, no yoga, no walking, no anything. They actually had to wear Fitbits to prove they weren't exercising because, not that the research was against exercise, but if they would have put exercise in, then she lost weight because it was diet and exercise. So what I would invite you to do, Goofy, is go to, see that right above her head, visit the New Health Conversation. That's a free medical website. The only thing there is the medical proof. We will not contact you. I swear to you on my kids' and grandkids' lives. If you go there and you like what you see, you can scroll down and you get a free coach. Now, one of the things I should have told everybody, and did you hear me talk about it, Goofy? 30% of what you eat would come from the grocery store. And picked by these researchers for the nutritional density of the foods they selected, and they give you serving sizes, not calories. The other 70%, so take your grocery bill for last month, take 30% of those dollars, that's all you're going to spend at the grocery store, or even less than that, okay? So the money left over, 75% of that money goes to these other researchers who'd gone around the world. You can't buy it at your grocery store. And they'd gone to Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand to find foods with huge amounts of nutrition that just aren't available. I don't care if you're in England or the United States or Canada or wherever, our food just doesn't have these levels of nutrition, okay? Oh, darn, my computer's dying. Give me 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. So anyway, Goofy, back to this. Okay, I'll check it out. Yeah, go to the website, and if you like what you see, no, but what I was going to tell you is 70% of the food you're buying, those researchers, listen to this, Goofy. In the first month, let's say it doesn't work, you didn't like it, they'll give you all your money back. We have nothing, we don't sell you anything, we have no products to sell. But those researchers are so certain this will work. Now, nothing's 100%, but do you think she wants would you be asking a refund? In your case, Goofy, just to let you know, you're going to probably lose at least 25 pounds in the first month, at least, maybe more. So just imagine how excited you'd be. How excited would you be if September 3rd or 4th, well, let's see, it'd take you a few days to get it, but let's say by September 5th, you're down 25 or 30 pounds. How much would that excite you? And again, you can continue to exercise. That's not a problem. But you also get a free coach because you've never done anything like this before. The coaching's really important. All the coaches did it, and all the coaches are trained to coach to help you to get through it. There are also moral support, accountability. It's all free. All the coaching's free. And the only thing you're buying food, not from us, but from the grocery and from these exotic foods. Does that make sense? Very much. You'd be very excited. Yeah. So does that make total sense? Good. So any of the rest of you, like Perig, Rout, etc., go to the website, see the medical proof. You don't have to believe me. I don't have to convince you of anything. It's not my research. But the research is there for all of you to see. I mean, come on. And I know there's new people coming on. How about 21 pounds in a month, 38 inches, no exercise allowed? And she's kept it off for 8 or 9 years, and it's not a diet. There's no products to buy. There's no magic elixir, no, there's no like, all of a sudden I'm going to, this is what you drink to lose the weight. That's not how it works. It's based on food and a completely new way of eating. And we created a website for all of you to go to, free website to see all the medical proof or not. So again, I started out by saying 4 things she did to lose 21 pounds in 30 days. Well, it's really 4 things she didn't do, actually. Number 1, she didn't count calories. Because number 2, our food is all but nutritionally bankrupt. And what we're not taking into account is when we're going on a diet, we're lowering the amount of food, we're lowering the amount of nutrition, right? We're also living in an unbelievably toxic world. We're drinking, we're breathing, we're eating chemicals. And as those come into our body's taking the chemicals and stuffing them inside our fat cells, which is called our visceral fat. That's the fat around your organs. And number 4, as a result of poor nutrition and chemicals, we have compromised guts. And what happens when you have a compromised gut, you have a condition called malabsorption, which is a simple term. When you ingest food, the nutrients are not used 100%, maybe 40, 50%. That's why you're constantly hungry no matter how much you eat. You're not hungry for calories. The only thing you can ever be hungry for is your nutrition. That's what these researchers did. They allowed her only 30% of the food from the grocery store. She got a grocery list of proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables. Nothing to do with calorie counting, only about serving sizes. And then the other 70% of the food that she consumed didn't come from your local supermarket. It came from other researchers who for 20 years had gone around the world to Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand to find foods with huge amounts of nutrition but small amounts of food. And then they created a new way of eating. So 5 days a week, she had 4 meals a day. She started with these exotic foods around the world. That was breakfast, lunch from the grocery store list, dinner from the grocery store list, and a 4th meal after dinner from these exotic foods around the world. 2 days a week, no food from the grocery store, only these exotic foods around the world. But this time she ate 8 times a day. She was eating every hour and a half for 2 hours. And what did they do? They did the most comprehensive medical evaluation of this. Weight loss was way down the list. That was like a given. They knew that was going to happen. This is what they did. They did blood, stool, urine, fat analysis, measured inflammation, measured blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, triglycerides, liver enzymes, body composition. And what they found, this is a detox. They proved that this is helping the body remove chemicals that we're all ingesting through water, air, and food. And the body, to protect us, is taking the chemical and stuffing it inside our fat cell. And those fat cells expand. See, these people telling you burn fat on a diet or on exercise, it's just not true. You're born with a certain number of fat cells, you die with a certain number of fat cells, and your fat cells expand or contract. She was not allowed to exercise and look at her stomach on day 1 and then look at her stomach on day 30. That's with no exercise. They actually wore Fitbits to prove they weren't exercising. What's so sad is that so many people, they come on here for like 10 seconds and they jump off. And what they're going to do, whatever diet they're on, they're doomed to failure. All the evidence says in 4 years, 86% of the people in the United States are going to be overweight or obese in 4 years. And 50% of those people will be pre-diabetic. And yet people don't have much time. They don't have time to learn about how dramatic this is. I mean, look at this, everybody. 21 pounds and 38 inches in 30 days. 21 pounds and 38 inches in 30 days with no exercise. And she's kept it off for 8 or 9 years. That's what should excite all of you. So who else would like to ask me a question? Because this is live. It's not pre-recorded. It's not an infomercial. It's a medical podcast or lecture, as someone said earlier. And I'm really sorry that it's not a 10-second answer. If you want a 10-second answer, there's plenty of people on social media that have no solution. Oh, they talk a big game, but how come they don't have any medical science to back it up? I mean, before and after doesn't hold weight anymore. The reason this is so significant, it's taken from the proof in 10 of the biggest medical journals in the world who publish these results proving they're safe and they're real. Nobody else has that. This took 40 to get published. These researchers who are the top weight loss nutrition researchers in the world, oh, I guess everybody's gone for the day. Okay, see you later, alligator, everybody. So let's go to April here. Hello, everybody. How about 60 pounds in 3 months with no exercise, no loss of any lean muscle, gain 6 to 9% lean muscle with no exercise? It's not a diet. It's not about counting calories. And there was no exercise allowed. And she's one of many people. Well, again, you're all gone. Okay. Hello, Bella. Beverly Fairfax has joined. Hello, hello. No, I guess not. So who else would like to ask me a question, assuming we get some people on here? 850B joined. Hello, how are you? That is real. That's not Photoshop. She lost 21 pounds. The average on this is about 5 pounds a week. So do you think that, oh, they're gone. How about Mary, everybody? She lost 200 pounds, kept it off. She lost that weight in about a year, and she's kept it off. You notice no loose skin. Hello, user 707. User 707, are you looking to get advice on how to lose weight and keep it off? Because this is 40 years of research, 100 studies, thousands of people, and there are no products to buy. This is based on new food combinations and a new way of eating, and it was developed by the top weight loss researchers in the entire world. This is pretty average. How excited would you be, 707, if you could lose 5 pounds a week? I'm assuming you want to lose weight. Maybe you don't, because we have people that want to gain weight. We got kids as young as 2 doing this. We got a lady 91 years old. We have people with no thyroids. It is a health system more than anything else. The weight loss is kind of the benefit. But again, I'd love for you to tell me if you could lose 5 pounds a week and lose no, as a matter of fact, she gained 6 to 9% lean muscle, but she's not the only one. Look at Julie, 35 pounds in 37 days. That's about 7 pounds a week. But look at the change in her body composition that you can see there. And then April, 60 pounds in 3 months. Look at her face, look at her arms, look at her body. Notice no loose skin. This is not a diet. It's like nothing anybody's ever done before. And it's published in 10 of the biggest medical journals in the world. This is not an infomercial. It's not a commercial. There's no products to buy. This is based on the research published in these huge medical journals developed by the top weight loss experts in the world who have no products to sell. They simply were looking to crack the code on obesity and health, and they've done it, and here it is, and here's the evidence. So again, 707, are you looking to lose weight? And I'll give you an honest evaluation of how long it would take you. Like, how tall are you? How much do you weigh? You don't have to do it if you don't want to, but this is live, okay? It's not pre-recorded. So I'm happy to interact with you. I've been a nutritional researcher for 23 years, wrote 4 best-selling books, 20 shows on public broadcasting, and over 1,500 live lectures around the world in front of over 500,000 people who lost collectively, we were figuring out the other day, around 10 million pounds. Over 500,000 people over 23 years, but still, that's pretty amazing. And a great majority of them had been able to keep the weight off. See, that's the other key. That picture's 8 or 9 years old. She's kept the weight off for 8 or 9 years. I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks 23 years ago. I've kept it off for 23 years. And I see we're getting some likes. We're at 788. That's really good. And now you're gone. Okay, well, I guess you weren't serious about losing weight. It's really sad that people don't stay. That's me liking. Okay, Randvar, thank you, thank you. Again, we have amazingly low turnout. Again, it's just silly that people are so, I don't know what it is. I think they're skeptical. Maybe they don't think this is real, although it is real. Hello, Mary Smith. That's an unusual spelling, Mary Smith. So is that really the way I'm not questioning, I'm just curious. I've never seen M-E-R-R-Y Smith. I've seen Merry Christmas, Merry whatever, but that's cool. So Mary Smith, are you looking, look, that is real. She lost 21 pounds in a month with no exercise, gained 6 to 9% lean muscle. It's not a diet, it's not about counting calories. There are no products to buy. It's based on food and based on a new way of eating developed by the top weight loss researchers in the world. They're rated the #1 weight loss, nutrition, and physiologists in the world. They created this, and there's no products to buy. Hello, lovely you 10K. Oh, really? Really? Huh. Well, I guess I pay attention to my listeners, right? That is very, very, I'm being honest, I've never ever seen that before. Huh. Well, then maybe I'll gain some credibility in your eyes that I really do pay attention, you know? Yes, people are saying, people probably think this is fake, I'm guessing. So Mary, what do you think about that? How excited would you, I'm assuming you want to lose weight. If you're not, don't be offended. I'm just, the majority of the people on here do. But you got to understand this is the least amount of weight people typically losing is about 5 pounds a week. I'm going to show you a 65-year-old man now. Look at this, Mary. 40 pounds and 52 inches in 30 days. Least important part of his story. Look at his lab work. Look at his A1C went from 8.4 to 6.4. His triglycerides, 242 to 124. That's in 30 days with no exercise allowed. Now, the reason they didn't want him to exercise, otherwise you'd say, well, it was diet and exercise. No, it wasn't. Oh, you just tuned in. Okay, good. Somebody got me 1,000 likes. Thank you very, very much. Okay, so Mary, let's talk about then what did they do? So, Mary, maybe you don't know this. Most people don't. I didn't. Johns Hopkins Medical School came out with a study about 3-4 months ago. They estimate in 4 years that 86% of Americans are going to be overweight or obese, and 50% of those will be pre-diabetic. So I think we could say probably that diets are not working. So the researchers who created this, who are rated, Mary, the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world, they had done 100 studies over 40 years, thousands of people, and sadly, well, two things happened. One, everybody lost weight initially, but 2/3 of everybody they studied in 40 years gained back more weight than they lost. So they said something's terribly wrong with all the diets we have. I don't know if you've been to Barnes & Noble lately, go to the diet section, it'll make your head spin. If any of those diets worked, why do we keep adding new diets every single year? Because they've never solved the problem until now. So these researchers, they did something totally different. They said, we're not going to let anybody count any calories. We, the researchers, are going to pick foods. 30% of the food they picked for her, she buys from a local grocery store, proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables, no calorie counting, only serving amounts. And the thing they concentrated on in the foods they recommend to you is the amount of nutrition in the food. Not the quantity, nothing to do with calories, okay, but only 30%. Now, what really made it work is the other 70% of what she bought and consumed didn't come from her grocery store, wherever she was in the world. It came from other researchers who'd gone around the world, Mary, to places like Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand, to find foods with huge amounts of nutrition, but smaller quantities of food. Some of the nutrients, Mary, came from these blue zones where people live and be 100 years old. I want to put that in my body. I don't know about you, right? Anyway, then they developed, based on this new model, which was based on nutrition, they put together a new way of eating. They got a registered trademark U.S. Patent Office called protein pacing. So 5 days a week, they let her have 4 meals a day. She started with these exotic foods from Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand. That was her breakfast. Lunch from the grocery store, dinner from the grocery store, and a 4th meal after dinner from these exotic foods from around the world. That's called protein pacing. 2 days out of 7, until she lost her weight, she had no food from the grocery store, only these exotic foods from around the world, and this time she ate 8 times a day. She was eating every hour and a half for 2 hours. The diabetics on this, no one had insulin spikes. But here was the thing that should intrigue you the most. They did the most comprehensive medical evaluation of a diet, nutrition, health program ever. They didn't just look at the number on the scale. They did blood, stool, urine, fat analysis. They looked at blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, triglycerides, liver enzymes. But the most important thing they proved was this is a detox. Now, in case you didn't know, and I hope you believe this, we live in an unbelievably toxic world now. The water, the air, the food, loaded with chemicals. Heck, 3 months ago, they came out with a big study saying they're finding microplastics in our brain and in our coronary arteries. But what else are they finding? Inside of our fat cells, the specific fat around your organs called your visceral fat, the body is storing herbicides and pesticides and all these chemicals. It's a known fact. It's not up for debate. Well, they proved that this protocol was helping remove those chemicals from the body. That's why her stomach shrank so much. You all complain, I don't know about you, but most people complain to us about how much fat, not just they need 20, 30 pounds to lose, but how much fat they have. Well, it's real easy. The body, to protect us, is storing those chemicals in the fat cell, causing the fat cells to expand. Mary, there is no such thing as burning fat on a diet or with exercise. You're born with a certain number of fat cells, you die with a certain number of fat cells, and they expand and contract over your lifetime. So the first thing they proved with this, it's a detox. Number 2, for the first time ever, they proved this lowered inflammation by 25% in 30 days. Inflammation is the underlying cause of every disease out there. Everybody suffers from it. You, me, everybody, okay? Third, Hunger came down 40% in a month. 40%. See, if I can teach all of you anything, you've never ever been hungry for a calorie. Your body has no idea what calories are. It doesn't count calories. A calorie is not a real thing, okay? The only thing your body cares about is nutrition. And when you don't have enough nutrition, which is what happens on these diets, because you lower the amount of food you're consuming, I don't care what the diet is, that's what happens, you're lowering the amount of nutrition. When that happens, the brain thinks there's not enough fuel, it freaks out, turns your muscles into fuel, slowing down your metabolism and your immune system. So by going on these diets, you're actually making yourselves more vulnerable to disease, infections, viruses, etc. This is a known fact. I mean, one of the saddest things in cancer is when I lost my younger brother, was 6'4". He had kidney cancer in 2011. And when my brother, in the 8 months that he lived, when he died, he weighed 115 pounds. He was 6'4". I saw him waste away. What was the majority of it he lost? His lean muscle mass. And obviously, you don't want to be losing lean muscle if it's slowing down your immune system. Every one of these diets, the medical proof, 25 to 40% of the pounds you're actually losing is lean muscle mass. And that's why you end up with all the fat and the loose skin, right? So they proved that this lowered inflammation and all these other factors. And the other thing was, it's sustainable. That picture's 8 or 9 years old. She's kept the weight up for 8 or 9 years. I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks, 23 years ago. I've kept it off for 23 years. Hopefully that's what should excite all of you. So again, Monica Beats, what's my actual headline? Well, how about losing 5 pounds a week? That would be my actual headline. Just tuned in, what is your actual headline? Monica, or how about this? How about Curtis? How about 10 pounds a week? 40 pounds, 52 inches in 30 days, a 65-year-old man. And then look at the medical improvements. His A1C from 8.4 to 6.4, triglycerides 242 to 124 in 30 days. You have to understand, Monica, it's not a diet. It has nothing to do with dieting. There's no calorie counting. No one was allowed to exercise. They actually wore Fitbits to prove they didn't exercise. Not that the research is against exercise. But the other thing that's so different about this, Monica, is that this protocol is published in 10 of the biggest medical journals in the world. The Obesity Journal, Frontiers in Physiology, Nutrients, Nutrition, Frontiers in Weight Loss, and Nature Communications, which is the #1 medical journal in the world. And this particular study was based on our gut, what's called our microbiome. And the title was Gut Microbiome Remodeling and Metabolic Profile Improves Drastically in Response to Protein Fasting and Intermittent Nutritional Fasting. No diet's ever produced anything like this. No diet has ever been put to the scrutiny of this kind of medical evaluation. It's not a diet. If you're going on this to lose weight, then you already missed the boat. That's like a throw-in. I mean, I'm telling you, at a minimum, they're losing at least 5 pounds a week, at a minimum. And then we've got people, and it's not just short-lived. This lady here, 60 pounds in 3 months, Monica. That's averaging 5 pounds a week for 3 months. No diet can touch this. There's no diet even, and this was developed by the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world. There are no products to buy. There's no products. You're buying food and a new way of eating that these researchers invented and proved that it worked, and they got a registered trademark, U.S. Patent Office, of this new way of eating. That's good enough for me. And like I said, I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks 23 years ago, and I've kept it off for 23 years. So does that explain it a little better to you? So who else would like to ask me a question? So hopefully, Mary, that makes sense to you, and hopefully that makes sense to Goofy, and hopefully, Monica, that makes sense to you. So Monica, is that, oh my God, no. Unicity is a total, let me see if I've got the medical proof here. By the way, as far as unicity, there are no peer-reviewed studies, and it's a very, very poorly constructed diet approach. I think I've got the research here somewhere. Let me find it for you. Let's see. Unicity is not a weight loss program. They're averaging about a pound a week on it. It's not even in the same zip code. They have no peer-reviewed human trial medical studies. They have what's called borrowed science, where they looked at an ingredient that was medically analyzed. No, it's not unicity, okay, just to let you know. No, it's not the feel-good system. Absolutely not. No, it's nothing. It's called R2M, Race to Maintenance. It's the only protocol, Grace for Life, that is published in 10 of the biggest medical journals in the world. There is nothing else that's like this. that's been proven or were published in these huge peer-reviewed medical studies. So who else would like to ask me a question? Because we certainly have all the medical proof here, including people like Harvard Medical School, Stop Counting Calories, the science behind why diets don't work. The research has proved that although the ads say otherwise, it's very rare for people to lose weight and keep it off for good. Not only that, 2/3 of people who diet regain more weight than they lost on any diet. And in the studies, 2/3 of everyone on diets regain more weight than they lost in the long run. So, I mean, in 4 years, they're talking about 86% of Americans being overweight or obese in just 4 years. Does that sound to any of you like diets are working? I mean, it's crazy. And you got things like, I'll give you another example. Here's this dietary recommended for fasting alternate days. So one day you eat, one day you don't. In 4 weeks, they only lost 5 pounds, but that isn't, listen to this. The most common adverse effects were dizziness, fatigue, and heart palpitations. This is the insanity that's out there on these diets. Are you kidding me? And they only lost 1 pound a week. And they ended up with dizziness, fatigue, and heart palpitations. And this is in Nutrition Journal, medical study. We don't give you opinions, by the way. We don't give you opinions. If you want opinions, there's plenty of people on social media that give you opinions without any proof at all. But you're talking about you want to lose 1 pound a week and there's no medical evidence behind it at all? Or do you want to believe on published in 10 of the biggest medical journals in the world? And you can lose 5 pounds a week. Mary Smith, the bottom line is right there. Go to the website, The New Health Conversation, and look at the medical proof. And if you like what you see, get a free coach and they'll go over everything with you for free. The coaching is 100% free. Does that make sense, Mary? Do you see that website right there? Visit The New Health Conversation. For all of you, you can go there. It's free to go there. Mary, just give me a yes that you understand that's what you would do. Go. Oh, thanks. Yes. So go to The New Health Conversation. If you like what you see, we won't contact you, Mary. We will not contact you, but you can contact us if you like what you see. We're not forcing people to twisting their arms. We don't need to do that, okay? So, Eunice was saying it was a metabolic health program, but it did help me, but now I want to try this. Great, Grace for Life. Thank you very much. Now, Grace, did you get a chance to hear how they're doing this? I'm more than happy to take the time to do it for you, because you got to understand what they're saying is not backed medically. Do you understand? There's no medical, it's a nice marketing ploy, but there's no evidence to back it up. Okay? Okay, but I want to hear. Okay, so let's go back. If you don't mind, Mary, I'm sorry, Grace, it's Grace. I get confused. There's so many people that are asking me questions. So, Grace, are you trying to lose weight? How tall are you? How much do you weigh? And I'll tell you what you can anticipate on this. And there's no calorie counting, and you can exercise or not. We're not against exercise. The picture you're looking at there, she wasn't allowed to exercise. She actually wore a Fitbit to prove she wasn't exercising. So again, just so I have a reference point, okay, 5'4", okay, and what do you think you should weigh, Grace? Because you probably won't like what I'm going to tell you, but I'm just a scientist. But I'd like, okay, 150. Actually, Grace, no, 5'4", you want to be around 130, which would be about 100 pounds. Grace, this is so powerful that in the first 4 days, you're going to probably lose 8 to 10 pounds in 4 days. 4 days, Grace. You'll lose at least 25 or 30 pounds in the first month. So let's say it's 100 pounds. See, easily by Christmas, you'll be down 100 pounds. Think of how that make you feel if you lost 100 pounds by Christmas. Imagine walking into a Christmas party or Christmas dinner or whatever, 100 pounds less. Now, you know what the most expensive part of this is, Grace? The new wardrobe you're going to have to buy. Most women in this, Grace, with no exercise, lose a whole dress size in the first week. How does that sound to you? Is that pretty good? Now, let's talk about what they did. First of all, no calorie counting. The researchers, we didn't invent this. The top weight loss nutrition researchers in the world are the ones who invented this, okay? And they had done 100 studies on human beings over 40 years and proved to themselves that no diet ever worked. So what they said was the reason they fail is calorie counting. You're not going to count calories on this at all. So 30%, whatever you spent last month on food, Grace, you will get a grocery list of proteins, fats, carbs, fruits, and vegetables. But instead of calorie amounts, you're going to get serving sizes. Does that make sense? So if it's a protein, it'll be how many ounces. If it's vegetables, it's a third or it's a half a cup, depending on what the vegetables. It's all laid out for you. There's nothing to guess. You actually get that grocery list free from our coaches because we have nothing to sell, okay? Now, what about the other 70% you're going to spend? That comes from other researchers from foods you can't buy at any grocery store. These researchers have gone around the world, Grace, to places like Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand to find foods with huge amounts of nutrition, but smaller quantities of food. So now they had the food that she was going to eat. Then they invented a new way of eating, Grace, that's a registered trademark U.S. Patent Office called protein pacing. You all can look it up. It's registered trademark U.S. Patent Office. 5 days a week, Grace, you'd have 4 meals a day. 4 meals. You'd start with these exotic foods around the world. That's your breakfast, lunch from the grocery store list, dinner from the grocery store list, and a 4th meal after dinner from these exotic foods around the world. Got that so far? So 5 days a week, you're going to have 4 meals a day. Don't get any diet out of your mind. This is not a diet. It doesn't work like that. Then 2 days a week, no food from the grocery store, only these exotic foods. But this time, you're going to eat 8 times a day. You're going to eat every hour and a half to 2 hours. Well, what were the results? Because the results were a lot more than just the weight loss. For example, diabetics on this, no one had insulin spikes. But here was the biggest thing, Grace, that they proved. They did blood, stool, urine, fat analysis and proved that this was a detox. They proved that this was assisting the body in removing the chemicals, herbicides and pesticides, the chemicals that we're exposed to every day in our world, that our body, to protect us, is storing the chemicals inside our fat cells. That's why people complain to us all the time about not just how much weight they've gained, but how much fat they have in their body. I hope I'm making sense. They proved unequivocally this is removing chemicals. Look at her stomach on day 1 and look at her stomach on day 30. That's with no exercise. That's detox. What else did they find? For the first time ever, you and me and everybody is suffering from inflammation. It went down 25% in a month. This has never been seen before. Hunger came down 40%. Grace, most people on this lose their cravings in the first week. Their cravings are gone because your craving is caused by nutritional deficiency, not lack of calories. Well, they're giving you massive amounts of nutrition, so guess what? You're not hungry, all right? The other thing that's so huge about this, Grace, is sustainability. The picture's 8 or 9 years old. She's kept it off for 8 or 9 years. As every person in here that I'm showing the pictures, they've all been able to keep it off. I lost 40 pounds, Grace, in 7 weeks, 23 years ago. And the main reason to do this is not to lose weight. That's a throw-in. Now let's talk about maintenance, how simple it is. This morning, I've been doing this 23 years. This morning, I had the world's most perfect meal for breakfast. I'm going to have lunch here in a few hours. And I'll have dinner tonight, and then maybe every 8 weeks or so, I do another of the 48-hour, having the 8 meals a day, no food from my grocery store, to help to detox my body. I think of it like, going to the dentist and getting my teeth cleaned hygienically, where maintenance is me flossing and brushing my teeth every day. That's a good way to think about it. So Grace, how does that sound to you? So Grace, what I'm saying to you is, imagine being down 100 pounds by Christmas. How much would that excite you? What a way to start. My God, I can't believe it's going to be 2026, everybody. That's totally crazy, but it's coming. So, Grace, does that make sense? And do you understand, Grace, so you'd go to the website, The New Health Conversation in Google. You'll see it. It's going to bring you to a link. So the new health, it's got to be The New Health Conversation, by the way, Grace. There's the website. Click on there. It takes you to the website. There's nothing to buy on that website. The only thing there is the medical proof, and we will not contact you if you go to that website. If you like what you see then, Grace, then you scroll down and you get a free coach. It even says it right here in black, free coaching. The coaching is free the whole time, Grace. There's no charge for the consultation, and they're going to coach you. We all got coached, and we're volunteering our time because someone coached us. And that's the whole thing. Oh, way less than the shots. Way less than the shots. Yeah, way less than the shots. I mean, Grace, take your food budget, whatever you spent last month, only 30% of those dollars you're buying at your grocery store. The other 70% pretty much pays for these other exotic foods. Because remember, when you do the shot, you still have to buy food. That's what they don't tell you. It's not just the shot, then you still got to eat for a month. You're buying a month's worth of food here. That's what you're doing. But it's not food you can buy at your grocery store. Does that make sense, Grace? Yep. Okay, great. And you understand, you can go right there, visit the New Health Conversation. You go there, and you get to decide. We will not contact you, Grace, if you go there. We won't do it. You get to choose. If you like what you see, scroll down, and then you can go and you get a free coach. I mean, how much fairer that can be to everybody. Lovely you, 10K, you're still there. Wonderful. So would anybody else like to ask me, okay, I'm an hour and 20 minutes, it's 8:20. I need to leave here in about 10 minutes. So who else would like to ask me one last question or not to let me know that you are curious or would like to know more? But you don't have to. You can just go to the website, the New Health Conversation. Everything is there. The medical proof, an explanation of what you would do, and then you decide you get a free coach. That's a free website. We're not charging you for an app where you're going to get some recipes. I mean, this just is really, you believe in that nonsense? Really? If that worked, they'd have $1 trillion company. If it was that simple, that here's some recipes and you're going to lose weight and keep it off long term. It's non-believable. Let me just say that. Hello, Autumn. So again, who would like to know how she lost 5 pounds a week, kept it off for 8 or 9 years and lost 38 inches off her body, no exercise, and she gained 6 to 9% lean muscle with no exercise at all in 30 days. And she had 30 pounds to lose, so she showed about 8 or 9 more pounds. I think it was 7 weeks she ended up losing 30 pounds. But look at Julie here. She lost 35 pounds in 37 days. That's like almost a pound a day. You're excited about a pound a week. You all know it. I understand I'm creating skepticism just by showing you this. But it's not short-lived. Look at April, 60 pounds in 3 months. 60. That's 5 pounds a week average. Most of you to lose 60 pounds, you'd be happy to do that in a year, let alone 3 months. But look at her face, look at her body. Where's all the loose skin, everybody? And then look at Mary, everybody. I love this picture. She lost 200 pounds in a little over a year. She's kept it off. Look at her change in her body. Where's the surgery? None. Zero. Where's the loose skin? None. 200 pounds. What if you have no weight to lose at all? Even more important to do this because it's a detox. It's not a weight loss. We got kids just like us too doing this. We got a lady 91 years old. We have people with no thyroids, a guy with a heart transplant, kidney transplant, people with no gallbladders, and we're not treating, curing, diagnosing, or preventing any medical diseases. You're all following windmills. And the reason I say that, can anybody produce a researcher on social media that's showing you a peer-reviewed human trial medical study? Don't show me a scientific paper done on mice or rats or chimpanzees, whatever. No, that doesn't count. I want a peer-reviewed human trial medical study. I got challenged the other day by someone about gut health, and I've got it here somewhere. Is it right here? BC, let's see, I'm just trying to find it. I just want to give you an example of the kind of misinformation that's out there. Yeah. So they were telling me this new thing, it's called BPC 157, and they got tons of peer-reviewed human trial studies, right? This was someone on TikTok. And again, I'm just reading you from the science, okay, because I'm a researcher. So what did they say? Proponents frequently claim that BPC 157 has undergone peer-reviewed human trial studies. However, a thorough search across scientific databases, clinical trials registries, and web sources reveals these claims are completely unsubstantiated, exaggerated, or outright misinformation, lacking any fully published peer-reviewed human trials data. Key findings on the absence of peer-reviewed human trials. No registered or published clinical trials with results. A search on the clinical trials yields no active, completed, or published human trials with available research. So that's the point. People can make whatever statement they want to make, but can they back it up? Because you're all following claims with no substantiation behind it. I'm open. If you have somebody with real medical proof, show me. I had another one the other day that came on and told me about this doctor that had done all these studies on calories in, calories out. Not one shred of evidence that he did any peer-reviewed human trial. It's what's called borrowed science. What they do is someone else did a study on an ingredient and they put that ingredient in their product, but there's not enough to have any clinical, because again, they didn't do the study on their product. And there are no products here, by the way. You don't buy anything from us. You're buying food and a new way of eating. But Who would be excited about losing 21 pounds in a month and 38 inches with no exercise? And look at her stomach on day 1, look at her stomach on day 30. What do you think about that, Autumn? Huh? And Autumn and everybody else, because I do have to go now, everybody. But look, notice right above her head, visit the New Health Conversation. It's 100% free to go to that website. There's nothing to buy on that website. You can go to that website and see the free medical proof. Okay? All right, everybody, I'm going to sign off now. And let's see, 9:30, 11:30. I probably will be back on around 11:30 today with my next live podcast, okay? But I want to thank all of you for being here today. I hope it's been helpful, and I look forward to you going to the website. Visit the New Health Conversation. It's free to go there. And if you like what you see, you get a free coach, and they'll go over everything with you. Okay? Bye for now.